Good Monday morning, everybody. Coming to you today with the message for the week. This will be the third week that I've done this, and I'm going to try to make it a little bit shorter than the 17 minutes or so that I made it last week. So, again, my intention with these little Monday morning videos is to just bring everybody some wisdom, some clarity, some guidance that will help them get through this week. We are now on the last Monday of 2020, and boy, that sounds really good to say. The last Monday of the year, and it really feels like this whole year has been a year of Mondays, right? My feeling is 2021 is going to be better, and it's going to be worse. I don't know exactly what that means, but it feels very much like, things get better for a lot of us, things could get worse for some of us. And that's something that I say not lightly at all. And I don't say that to worry anybody. I think, generally speaking, that's life, right? Gets better for some of us, gets worse for others. What I want to do this week is pull a rune and a tarot card to kind of guide that message. And I know that a lot of folks watching this, you don't participate in tarot, you don't participate in runes. I do believe divination and these sort of tools are very much accessible to everybody, and everybody should use them. It's very much a tool and a way for us to look at circumstances in our life with a different light, right? So I'm going to pull a rune right now, and then I'm going to pull a tarot card. And I want this rune to kind of focus in on the energies that we should all be aware of as we move through the next week. So I just shake that bag with that intention, and I reach in there, and I grab one that just calls to me. All right. I'll show you the rune that I got. So this is Thurisaz. This is the rune of the thorn. It's not a fluffy kind rune. It's a rune of boundaries. Think of a thorn hedge, right? If you are standing on the outside of a row of roses or thorny bushes, and you have to get to the other side of that hedge, you have to go through that hedge, you're going to have a hard time, right? Now, if you are the rose and you have that thorn, life's going to be better for you, okay? So this does speak of the thorn in our life that we have to be aware of, but it also reminds us that sometimes to deal with the thorns in our life, we have to be a bit thorny ourselves. I want you to think about boundaries this week and how you'll have people that will come upon you and seek to take that which isn't theirs, whether that's that's your energy, that's something financial or related to resources. This rune is a powerful rune. It's one of force, it's one of strength. It sometimes reminds us that we have to be prickly sometimes. The legend behind that is of Thor, the god Thor of Norse mythology, and his hammer. And Thor is very much like Michael, the archangel, in the way that Michael uses his sword to keep the demons or monsters at bay. Thor uses his hammer very much that same way to keep chaos at bay, right? So it speaks of being the hammer, but using that hammer to keep that which would hinder you away from you. So, boy, if that's not a lesson for 2021, I don't know what is. Use the thorn to keep yourself safe, right? Now, perhaps that's social distancing. Perhaps that's finally saying to somebody in your family or circle of friends, I don't want any more of what you have to offer. But this is very much protect yourself from the thorns with the thorns. So I asked for a message, and that's what I got. That one right there. I'm going to shuffle the tarot 3 times and bring forth a message there. Again, sometimes the messages that we receive, and I know that this is true for divination, even though they're hard to hear sometimes, they're the messages that we need to hear. And sometimes we won't get to where we need to be unless those harsh messages come to light. Tarot card is the Ace of Cups. Card of beginnings. Cups and water, or excuse me, cups and tarot represent water and emotions, right? New beginnings. This card always means bounty to me, right? Like a wellspring. So interesting how before I pulled the runes and before I pulled the tarot, I had this message of, well, some of it's going to get better and some of it's going to get worse, right? And it's very difficult for somebody like me to do a reading for a collective because that's true. For some of us, we are going to have the thorns in our life. For some of us, we have the opportunity to begin anew, right? And I think the lesson here is, when you have this bounty of goodness, when you have this bounty of this wellspring coming your way, sometimes it's appropriate to protect yourself, and sometimes it's appropriate to be thorny enough to keep that which would threaten us at bay. So think about that over the course of this week. What are the things in your life that you should cultivate, and what are the things in your life that you should remove? Right now, being that this is the last Monday of the year and we're moving into the new year, this is a time for folks to really take inventory of those things in their life, the things that they want to cultivate and bring forth, and the things that they want to identify and remove. I do believe in the power of New Year's resolutions. Sometimes it works for people, sometimes it doesn't. But I do believe that as a collective, when everybody lends their collective energy and strength towards something, that there's a lot of power there. If you want to make a New Year's resolution, make one. If you want to change things in your life, change them. There are things that we can control. There are things that we cannot control. Those things that we can't control, perhaps we need to be the thorn, right? Perhaps we need to swing our figurative hammer or our sword around us to protect us from that which would encroach upon us. The next thing is, and again, I just pass this along as I receive it, very much important to focus on family. And that's a general rule, right? I mean, family is the most important thing in my life. My parents, my child, my husband, everybody. It's very important. I think this week, if you haven't already, take some time to thank and love those in your life that you should be. The next thing I'm called to tell folks here is, and I know that this is very pertinent to a lot of people that might be watching this, but I want everybody to take inventory of their life, and I want everybody to take inventory of the people in their lives that they love. And if there are people in your life that you love that you would regret not saying something to, then you should say that thing to them. I'll give you an example. A couple weeks ago, I had a woman that I was giving a reading to, and that message very much came through from her ancestors, right? Reconcile with your sister. Her and her sister hadn't talked for a long time, and I had to ask her, I said, if you found out, you walked out of this session and you found out that your sister had passed away, would you be upset? Would you regret? Would you be sad that you didn't say the things that you had to say? She goes, I would be very much. You gotta rectify that, right? Even if you don't think that she'll respond, you have to reach out to her and you have to say, none of this matters. If you have people in your life that you love and there's discord between you, do your best to rectify that as you walk into this new year. If you have people that you love and you would regret something about that relationship, if that person were to pass away, or even if you were to pass away, what can you do now to rectify that, balance that, bring change to that? In the case of that woman and her sister, the worst thing that could happen, and just the sister tells her to just go pound sand, right? The best thing that could happen is that they rectify and they come back together and they love one another. Everybody out there watching this, take stock, take inventory of your life. If everything is kosher and balanced with everybody in your life, good for you, right? I mean, wonderful. That's how I see my life. I don't have anything that I need to say to anybody. I've said it all. I'm at peace with everybody that matters to me. That's really important. If you're not that lucky, do something to rectify that, especially right now with this new year, right? If we've learned anything out of this year, our existence and our life can completely be swept out from underneath us. It can be. Don't allow people into your life that would cause imbalance or pain, right? Nobody should do that. Fix those relationships if they're in your life and they're broken. That's important. Think about lying on your deathbed and taking inventory of the things that you could have done or should have done differently. Try to minimize those. Try to minimize those. The new year, 2021, it's going to get better for a lot of us. For some of us, it's going to get worse. Take that to heart. Control the things that you can control, affect the things that you can affect, and try to bring about the positive change in your life and in the lives of those you love as best you can. That's really all we can do here, right? I mean, it's really all we can do. Minimize that regret. Tell those that we love them. If you do that, I believe 2021 will be an excellent year for you. Live it with as little regret as possible and love everybody in your life as much as you can. That's what will make